Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Last Things Last podcast. I'm your host, Kevin Myers, joined by my co-hosts, MJ Escoda and Justin Mandia. Say hi to everybody, guys.
Hi, everyone. Justin,
hello, everyone.
Don't you dare.
Hi.
So we're going to start with the big news.
Sorry.
Okay. The big news coming out of baseball, the Hall of Fame class has been announced. Derek Jeter and Larry Walker both being elected. Jeter on his first ballot. Larry Walker on his 10th and final chance to get in. Was not expecting a call and got the call. Two very deserving players, in my opinion, which we'll break that down. But this is my Larry Walker tribute. And then I've also, for later, this is a Nolan Arenado T-shirt. We'll be getting into that. So, boys, do you like who was selected? Do you think anybody got snubbed this year? What do you think?
I'm going to start with the ignorant person that didn't give Jeter a unanimous vote.
One guy.
He had to be a Red Sox fan. He had, or it was Alex Rodriguez. One of the two.
99.7% of the vote.
I know it should be. I read earlier today. It should be protected while you're voting, but afterwards you should tell what you voted. Like, come on. It was one guy. He should have been unanimous. That's ridiculous. The man had an amazing, amazing career. That's why he was first ballot. Come on.
One of the best players that ever played the game.
That's the only gripe I have about it. He should have been on unanimous.
Yeah.
Justin, since you know so much about baseball, why don't you tell us what you think?
He knows more than he lets on.
I
he just
know more than I let on
because
I just hate baseball, but secretly I don't hate it that much. But no, I saw an interesting thing. People were saying, I think kind of my biggest problem, the reason that I hate baseball is sometimes is because of the trying to think of the love for tradition. It's like a double-edged sword. It's good in some instances, but like when players like Babe Ruth weren't being unanimously voted in, like Mariano Rivera was the first person recently ever to be unanimously voted into the Hall of Fame. When players like Ken Griffey Jr. and Babe Ruth, and like actual players that were like historical greats of the game, and they just weren't getting voted in because tradition, because we didn't do it for all these people. Like, no one's perfect enough to get a unanimous vote.
Right.
Like, I don't know. That's frustrating. The Larry Walker thing's cool because it was his last chance. Is the rule, see, this is where I'm going to prove that I don't know as much. Is the rule that they can only let in 2 at a time?
No. They can let in, I think, up to 10.
Okay, so let's do Kurt Schilling for sure, right? And then let's let in a few more. I saw who was on the
Scott
Andrew
Rowland.
Jones
I don't know how
list.
Scott Rowland didn't. Scott Rowland got pretty low votes. That he got 35% of the vote, which is weird. Todd Helton, another Rockies player, got 29% of the vote. It's the second year on the ballot. A lot of people are talking that since Larry Walker got in as the first guy that's going to go in with the Rockies hat on the bust, that Helton will be in the next couple of years. I mean, Clemens, Bonds, Sosa, those guys are always going to have the steroid thing that might hold them out of it.
They should still be allowed in.
Yeah, but here's the thing. They've already let a couple players off the ballot that aren't going to be in now because of the steroids, i.e. Mark McGwire. You know what I mean? So, like, what do you do with those players that you're like, oh, sorry, you're not eligible anymore? Like, do you just kind of renege that and let them back in?
Why is it a 10-year limit? Like,
I know.
That's another thing. Like,
probably because there's a billion players, but also
not the billion players thing, but it's like after 10 years, you know what? We forgot everything you've done in your career.
Yeah.
So I gotta, go ahead.
Ow! Sorry, I'm playing with a chip clip and it just like destroyed my hand. But also, what was I thinking? Oh, like the fact that I follow some guys on Twitter from like that are Phillies writers, and this guy that was a Phillies writer showed his ballot, just took a picture of it and was like, full disclosure, guys, what do you think? And it was like Scott Rowland, Kurt Schilling. It was super Phillies heavy or Philly adjacent, And I feel like the people that vote for these things, they all have their own agendas.
Sure.
Like MJ said.
Their own bias.
Did he say it before?
Wait a minute. God. I'm sorry, I'm jumping here. I just looked at the list of people that have gotten close to 100% of the vote. How is Nolan Ryan not at 100%, but Mariano Rivera is?
It's just
come on.
Right. And that's nothing against Mariano Rivera.
No.
Both deserve it. But
Cliff Lee got 2 votes.
Huh?
Cliff Lee got 2 votes.
Oh.
That seems.
If you would have,
That seems
yeah. we would have got more than one World
No,
Series.
I love that they get Derek Jeter's an obvious one for me. I mean, his stats are absolutely insane. 310 career batting average, 358 stolen bases, 1,311. Actually, him and Walker have the exact same amount of RBIs, 1,311. That's kind of wild. For Larry Walker,
I think it's the lack of World Series.
Yeah. That was Larry Walker's problem because he's the best five-tool player in baseball. He could do everything. And the craziest part about Walker's story, I was listening to him talk about it the last couple of days. He legit was not expecting to get a call. Like, he completely was taken by surprise, which was really cool. But, like, he said, I grew up in Canada. You come out with a stick and skates when you're born. You are not a baseball player in Canada. He's like, we didn't have high school –
Whoa. Clark, the Canadian hockey goalie, showed his range when he got on the diamond.
Hoser.
Yeah, Hoser. He said, I didn't play – we didn't have a high school baseball team, so I didn't play high school ball. I played in some semi-pro softball fast pitch leagues, and then some Expos guys saw me and was like, this guy seems really athletic and could be pretty good, and gave him a minor league deal. He didn't know the full rules of baseball. He told a story today where he said, it was a minor league game, and I didn't know all the rules yet, and I was running from first to third on a live ball. I got to third. The guy caught the ball, and I was like, I need to get back to first base. But I didn't know I needed to tag back at second, so I ran across the pitcher's mound straight to first base and got there. And he was, like, celebrating that he got back safe, and the ump's like, Larry, dude, you're so out right now.
So what you're telling me is there's hope for us. We can get into a fast pitch softball league. He
was literally like, I can't run across the pitcher's mound. It's like, no, dude, you're out. He's like, oh. So he literally learned the game and then ended up becoming this incredible baseball player. But I think you're right, MJ. It was the lack of World Series rings and the whole Coors Field effect thing where they say the ball travels out easier, which it kind of does, and that it padded his stats. But I'm like, dude, you can't base that on where you play.
No, you can't base –
It's where you are in your career. How can he –
where you play, the whole steroids thing, I know it makes everybody upset. But at the end of the day, you still need to hit the ball.
Right.
And it's very, very, very hard to do that. Can you imagine if the steroids guys knew what the pitch was going to be?
Dude, and think about this. In comparison with Derek Jeter, one of the greatest ever, who had 11,195 at-bats, Larry Walker had 6,907 at-bats, and they had the same amount of RBIs. That's insanity.
Yes. That's almost half.
He had a 313 batting average, 565 slugging, 230 stolen bases for a guy his size. It was absolutely incredible what he was able to do.
Could move. Okay.
Dude, he absolutely could. Played 17 years. I mean,
and if we're discounting people from the Hall of Fame for advantages that they had, perceived or actual advantages, then let's discount Babe Ruth because he got to play without races of people.
And
he literally played against fat white people.
And you could drink and smoke in the dugout.
Yeah,
which you still should be able to do.
He said, what's that famous quote? Babe Ruth did it on hot dogs and beer. Like, come on now.
I've been trying that myself, and I can't hit home runs.
Curt Schilling got 70% of the vote, and I think that's another stupid snub because they don't like his personality. Like, dude, this guy has Hall of Fame numbers. Just put him in already. I think Scott Rowland used to be – Billy Wagner's on there, Gary Sheffield. Manny Ramirez will be kept off. Andrew
Gary
Jones
Sheffield
is on there.
Thick.
Yeah.
Have you seen him?
Who?
Gary Sheffield.
He has his own cigar line. They're actually
I think I saw a photo of him or a video of him like smoking a cigar while just hitting.
Yeah, he's a
bombs.
big dude. Yeah, dude, he's still tanking it.
Just hitting dingers.
But I think these two guys are definitely deserving. So it was nice to see them get elected. Staying on the diamond for a minute and with the Rockies for a minute, Nolan Arenado. There's a bit more to the story of what happened this past week where general manager, what's his name? I always forget his name. Doesn't matter who. The general manager. The general manager. Oh, here we go. Jeff Bridich. He said that they were not going to trade. What the heck?
Jeff
they are
Bridich.
not. No, what is on your head? They they said that they were taking any trade options off the table. Shortly after, Arenado, who's usually a really quiet guy, keeps to himself no matter what, said he felt disrespected by the team and that there are people there that he does not want to be a part of. Now, the story, which was broken by the Denver Post, they interviewed the writer of that story on MLB Network, and he basically said this has been brewing for a year or so now. After the Rockies 2 years ago had 91 wins and went into the playoffs and then dropped to a 71-win team this past season, there was discussion with Nolan Arenado and management on, hey, let's try to make the team a little bit better. Let's give me some weapons. And Justin, you said it before the cast. Well, the year before they traded away DJ LeMahieu, an all-star infielder. They've been giving more money to people like Ian Desmond, who's on the back half of his career and not as productive. Daniel Murphy at first base, who's good when he wants to be. Like, they have a decent infield. They have solid hitting, but their pitching is atrocious, and they're not doing anything. The Rockies are not a team that you see in the news going after players during the winter meetings.
No.
And it shows because they're losing talent. So I don't think this is a player one. I'm really on Arenado's side here because I don't think this is just a normal player whining, and people out there going, he just got an 8-year, $260 million extension. He should shut up. No, he wants to play on a winning team. He literally could have gotten more money from another team. He could have gotten $300 million plus. Easy. He's that talented. But no, he wanted to stay with Colorado, be the face of the franchise, and win in Colorado. And they're not doing anything to help him. So I'm on Nolan's side in this. MJ, whose side are you on here?
The $255 million really makes me not want to feel bad for him, but because that's a number I'll probably never hear. But no, that's why in any sport you can't get mad when you start to see players get upset. I mean, look at how the Steelers handled Bell.
Yeah.
Look at the NBA is getting kind of ridiculous with the way the players are just blatantly saying, I won't play for this team, so don't trade me. I won't play for this team, so don't trade me. I'm just going to walk. So there's give and take on it. But with Nolan, they told him, we're going to do all these things. And I don't think they did one of them. No. I'm sure there was a list of stuff they were trying to work on. Nothing happened. And then that same article I read that during their exit meetings last year, they almost came basically to blows over. He was like, the team's doing well, the GM, and then Nolan's like, it feels like a rebuild team to me. And then
I don't want to come to blows over a boogie, but I will come to blows over a boot scooting boogie. Yes. Sorry, that's immediately what I thought of.
Yes, but I think they should try it one more year. If it doesn't work at that point, or they don't do anything to prove it to him, then I'm all 100% on his side. But again, the $255 million makes it really, really hard.
260 actually.
Oh, sorry. I missed that one.
You're $5 million short.
I missed that one because the guy's an absolute stud. If you look at his numbers,
he's insane. MVP candidate year in, year out. Justin, what do you think?
I mean, I just go back to, I know that they might have told him, they might have given him some, sign him under some false pretenses. What?
Just keep going.
There an issue? Jeez, dude. I'm trying to drop some hot baseball fire here.
Go ahead.
Getting into baseball. And the only way I was going to get into it was putting on these cat ears, and all of a sudden I'm the bad guy.
No one said anything. You stopped. No one said a word.
Face. Anyway. No, but I think they definitely probably signed him under false pretenses. But at the same time, you know how they've been the past. They've been relatively competitive. Like you said, they were 90-win team. It's not like they weren't competitive, but they weren't juggernauts either. And I think that when you do sign with a team long term, you run the risk of them kind of doing what they will with you.
Yeah.
And when a team gives someone that much money, I know that baseball doesn't have the whole cap thing, so there's kind of a difference. But at the same time, they have a lot of money tied up in you. It's going to be tough for them to go out, they're not spending your money, like they're spending their money too. So it's kind of up to them who they pick up. And so, I mean, I don't know. I do feel bad for him in a sense because he probably truly wanted to stay in Colorado and make it, a home for him long term and kind of be loyal to that fan base in that city. But at the same time, you signed, and now I feel like the power is all in Colorado. Like,
Yeah.
yes, you can have a disgruntled star, and that's fine, but you have a disgruntled star, that's fine. But also, you signed him for 8 years?
8 years, yes. It's a
8 years,
long
60.
time.
Yeah.
If they don't want him going anywhere, he's not going anywhere. And if he doesn't want
But
to
they
play,
also lost a lot of trade leverage by pulling this kind of gamut by saying, "Oh no, we're pulling it off the table." They
Right.
lost some leverage in that.
You
yeah,
know
because
what
at
would
the same
help them?
time, a team's like, hey, we'll give you, at first they're like, we'll give you
4
haul to
prospects.
get him.
Yeah.
And now at this point, they're like, he wants to go anyway. Do you really, like, I guess we'll just wait for him. And if he doesn't play for you for 2 years because you refuse to
He'll
play,
still be in his prime. We'll take him. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. But it's a game of chicken, though, because
Yeah.
if no one, like, what can he really do? Can he hold out?
Right.
And then does he get paid if he holds out or doesn't he? Like, it's that kind of thing. Like, is he just going to not play until, the next 7 years until
Right.
his contract's up?
Yeah. No, I agree. And I mean, we're going to keep an eye on this as it continues, but I do believe the Rockies will end up trading him at some point. I don't think it's going to be, it might not be this year, but like I said, MJ, maybe, like you said, MJ, maybe another year, and we'll see how this kind of goes.
Yeah, man. But you know what might help them? If they start stealing signs.
Coming in with that hot fire. So we didn't have this on the list, boys. This is an obvious one we're going to talk about. The Conor McGregor fight. Conor McGregor and Cowboy Cerrone.
So disappointing.
I thought it was an amazing fight. I mean, here's the thing. MJ, you and I talked about this too. Justin and I watched the entire card for like a while.
Also, hey, you have a garbage card.
Oh, it was a terrible card. There was no good fights.
One
on
of
that
the
card.
worst.
There was like two good fights. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Macy Barber, you're a warrior fighting with a torn ACL. Like, you're a legend. But
that one was awesome. The rest, that Holly Holm fight.
That was awful. Oh my gosh. That was a terrible fight. But MJ, you and I talked about it. We both like Cowboy a lot, but I'm a huge McGregor fan. And it was good to see him come back into the octagon and be like, yeah, 40 seconds is all I need. I've never seen a fighter use his shoulder to break someone's nose in the clinch like that. Like, that was absolutely incredible. He hit him with the third shoulder and his nose broke open. I was like, oh,
and
my
broke
God,
his orbital bone. Broke his orbital
that's
bone.
right. That's right. And then that kick, and I was like, oh.
So what they think happened was when he initially missed that first punch.
Right.
When he caught him with the leg, they think it dazed Cowboy.
Yeah.
And then I was talking to one of my buddies today that actually does fight, and he was mentioning that he thinks Conor did a lot of research on Cowboy because it's known that when he grapples, he stands, or like not grapples, but when they're like
Clinch.
locked up like that, clinched, he stands straight up. And that might have been a piece of information he used. But the fact that Conor is this point in his career and is adding new stuff to his repertoire, it's like,
well, he said it in the
awesome.
post-fight interview. He was like, we were working on that move in camp with his shoulder. I was like, who's thinking about that? And when they interviewed Cowboy, he's like, I've never seen or experienced anything like that.
And the kick, if that wasn't his foot and that was his shin, he would have took his head off.
Oh my gosh!
Like that kick
it was like the heel.
filthy.
It was so clean.
It was
and
filthy.
The fact that it was cool about it too was that that's a Cowboy move. That's how Cowboy knocks people out. And Cowboy threw a head kick with the left leg, the exact same thing right before that. And Conor blocked it and was like, "Oh, we're doing head kicks," and blasted him.
Also,
oh, no.
I think Herb Dean stopped it at the right time. People think he stopped it a little too late. I mean, he was getting blitzed on the ground, but I think it was the perfect time.
You got to give him a chance.
Yep, let him try to fight back a little bit, and then if he can't,
now we know the extent of his face injuries. Like, he wasn't fighting back.
No, he was done.
No.
But as a referee, it's good that he wasn't like immediately, oh my gosh, he's on the ground, he's dazed. You know.
By the way, I did win $5 at the bar. I bet that Herb Dean was going to referee that fight, not normal. And then they go, and big Herb Dean. I was like, yes. So yeah, man.
I love that Conor did his signature. I'm going to bull rush you out of the gate here.
I love that he wasn't a D-bag after the fight.
He was actually really awesome. It
was amazing.
He went right over and hugged Cowboy, which was awation.
And then hugged his grandma.
And hugged his grandma, which was really, really cool.
Like, I hope this is what we're seeing.
But see, here's the thing. After fights, with the exception of Khabib, because there was some legit bad blood there, Conor's always gracious in defeat and victory.
That is true.
But
like
the
even
Khabib
after
fight was a
Diaz
different
won
thing.
where he lost, he was very much
They were
the
hugging
same.
each other, and
And when he won, he was the same. Like,
Yeah.
See, but the thing is, like, all these fighters that are now like talking sideways to try to get at him, I don't even think they hate him. I think it's they know they need to talk like that to get the money fight.
To get
It's
money,
the money
he
fight.
brought that aspect to UFC. Like Muhammad Ali did for boxing, he did it for UFC.
But like,
Yeah.
I genuinely think the only two people that hate each other are Conor and Khabib.
I do too. There's some serious bad blood there. I mean,
but
when your goons jump in and punch you in the back of the head after you lose a fight, like there's problems.
I mean, some of the stuff he said into the run up to that fight was definitely out of line. Don't get me wrong.
Absolutely, both sides did.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It was. But who do you think he fights next?
They're talking about, Justin, you and I talked about that if the Khabib opponent slips out again, that he'll be ready for him in April.
So, but either Ferguson or Khabib, he doesn't. Conor said that he's training like April. One of them won't show up because they've tried to do it 4 times, and all 4 times someone's dropped out of that fight.
Well, the one time it was the most ridiculous thing ever. That's when Ferguson tore his ACL and MCL tripping over a cord.
Yeah, over cords. And then Khabib had weight cut issues once, and then was out eating tiramisu the night before and missed weight the other time. And then I forget what Ferguson's other issue was.
I mean, Tony was suspended for a little bit too, and so was Khabib.
Yeah. There was four times they tried to fight.
I don't want to see Conor do that fight. I don't want to. I want to see Tony fight Khabib.
I think Masvidal in
that would be such a good fight.
And then I think if Khabib beats Tony, then I think Khabib in August probably.
There's got to be a Khabib rematch that obviously has to happen at some point. But people are saying, I read an article earlier that said he should do another Diaz fight first. Like a rubber match between him and Diaz.
I don't think Diaz has done enough.
I think that's just a money fight at that point. I mean, I would like to see that at the end of the year maybe. But I think if you lose to Diaz, the Khabib fight loses a little bit of its meaning because, I don't know. I feel like a Masvidal fight, if he lost to Masvidal, it's fine, I'll just go back down to 155 and fight Khabib. It's all good. If he loses to Diaz, who isn't really even necessarily a contender.
What weight was he fighting at? 170? Was that what it was?
They did both.
Oh, okay.
No, they did 170 for both.
Oh, okay.
They did 170 for both for the Diaz fights because Conor didn't want to. They offered him 155 and he wanted to rematch him at the same weight.
But this last fight, I mean, that was 170, right?
Yeah, this one was 170.
Yeah.
He looks good at 170, dude.
He looked, dude. Dana White was so concerned. He's like, I don't know how McGregor's going to do at 170. And then after the fight, he's like, I'll never say anything again. Yeah. Conor can fight whatever he wants.
I don't know if we found out. That's the thing that's weird about it. Because
Stephen A was right. That bothers me.
We didn't find out a ton.
Yep.
About Conor with this
is his stamina better? I have no idea.
Right. But I don't think that it's a huge – I don't think it was – Stephen A. was such a prick about the Cowboy side of it, though. He's like, Cowboy's washed up. He had no fight in him. He had no, he had no fight, and he didn't even try. You saw him go down, and he didn't – it's like, what? You know what
I love about Cowboy and why Stephen A. is so wrong there? Cowboy actually came on First Take a week or two before the fight and was like – and he got real offended because Max was like, so you're telling us you're going to fight a stand-up fight with him on purpose when you could take him to the ground and win that way? Why do you think that's the best strategy? And he goes, hey, Max, how many people you fought? He's like, I'm a fighter. I want to fight. I want to fight this guy the way he fights. I want to prove that I can fight him standing up. And you know what? He lost. Who cares? He at least went after him, and he wasn't.
That's because Max Kellerman is covering the slowly dying sport, which is boxing.
Sadly,
the slowly dying sport.
Seriously.
And I love boxing, which is sad.
That's the thing that they talk about. I think that's my biggest issue with the ESPN UFC merger. Is that they had they literally had that post fight. It was Joe Rogan and then Stephen A. Smith. So someone that knows everything
about mixed martial
arts
arts.
There is to know about mixed martial arts. And Stephen A., dude, when he speaks about mixed martial arts, it literally makes me want to throw up. And I don't even know that much about mixed martial arts, but I'm like, it's like some producer prep him. It's rough, some of the stuff that ESPN puts out there for UFC. They're very general. It's very if it goes into the third round, then, Conor might get tired. And if it goes into, it's like everyone knows that, though. You're not telling me anything. So,
right.
Yeah.
But I think it was a great fight. Super happy for Conor. It'll be really cool to see where he goes next.
I want to see Masvidal.
Staying in the realm of fighting, but in basketball, Kansas and Kansas State had a little bit of a tussle at the end of the game the other night. I think it was like a 30-point differential in score, something like that, maybe 25 points.
That'll cause tempers to
It was
flare.
that same stupid steal the ball at the end and shoot it, which, okay, that's annoying. But at the same time, you're Kansas. Just let it go. Deal with it. The fight broke out. There was a lot of stuff going on, but that image that keeps sticking out is that one Kansas player picking up the chair.
Silvio Sosa.
Yeah, he's been suspended indefinitely, I believe.
Well, 12 games. So if they do make the tournament, which they will, he's eligible to come back.
I thought it said indefinitely.
No, they just released it tonight. He got 12. Someone else on their team got 2, and then Kansas State, someone got 10, and someone got 2.
It's like when an Ohio State player gets suspended, and you're like, oh, so they're missing Rutgers and Illinois, and
but they'll be back from Michigan and Penn State. Now the guy that got the big suspension was on he was facing a 2-year ban for taking money,
right?
Which is a whole other thing.
Which is stupid, but like he should know of all people, don't get on the NCAA's bad side.
And again, this is just like the Myles Garrett thing. He picked up a chair.
Yeah. Like, don't be dumb about it, dude.
Yeah,
don't be dumb about it.
Which, again,
throwing a punch is one thing, but
once you spill into the crowd, I get it. There's a ton of people running at you. Like you don't know who's behind you, who's coming near you. But he literally, that assistant coach doesn't grab that chair out of his hand.
He saved his career.
That's jail. Like you're going to jail.
Yeah.
The fighting, Kev, you're right. As Kansas, let it go.
Right.
You're up by 30.
I know that's frustrating. It's like, okay, cool, man.
Because what had happened, the play before was they stole the ball. Kid from Monmouth dunked it, came down, was like running his mouth like they were in the game. And then they stole it again, and he blocked him and walks over top of him. Like, just let it go.
Yeah, you don't need to taunt. You don't need to do any of that. Just you won the game, get off the court.
You know what? This could be a coaching problem, too, because what's he doing on the floor if you're up by 20?
Right. Also a good point.
What are your starting 5 still doing in there?
Yeah, put your scrubs in and
now what really made me laugh about the whole situation though is both teams got ejected, and the reason both teams got ejected was they started to do the handshake line. The refs came back, realized there was 1 second left, and anyone that had left the bench was on the court got ejected. So there were kids that just went to the handshake line and got ejected for being on the court.
Wow,
it's amazing. But that whole thing. It looks bad. Like the kid from Illinois the other night that pulled the Grayson Allen.
Yeah,
got up and stepped on the other guy's chest and ran down the court. Like what?
What are you doing? What are you doing? Just play the game and get to the NBA and make millions of dollars. What are you doing?
Or just wait till after the game and then hit him. Don't do it.
Doing?
I can't. I don't understand how they caught me doing it. The camera's focused on you.
Yeah. They had such good shots of him just like with the chair, like, I'm going to do this.
I just
and I think it says a lot about like the NCAA kind of like basketball culture that these kids come in and think that they're tough and think like they feel like if there's, he blocked the dude, he stood over him. I don't even have a problem with that. The guy gets up and pushes him in the chest. And now that's almost like a challenge. And if he doesn't do something, then he's kind of like, he's a wuss or something like that. Like whatever happened to getting pushed and then being like, oh yeah, we're up 30. And instead of going back at him, just be like, look at the scoreboard. Is that?
Dude, the best was Bill Lambier. Bill Lambier was the best at that.
Yeah.
Pistons, yes.
But
best at that, man. He would get people so riled up. Like was with Robert Parrish on the Celtics.
Yeah.
Knocked him out. He got him so mad he knocked him out cold. And they wake him up with the salts. And his first question was, did he get ejected? That's all he cared about.
Yeah.
Dude, it was absolute craziness. Hopefully, there should have been maybe some harsher penalties there, but we'll see.
Also, real quick. I think I watched a great compilation video the other day of all the fights from the 80s and 90s in basketball. What I noticed about most of them is they stayed on the court, the players hated each other, and then the game went on. Nobody got tons of trouble.
Just continued.
And I think if they let the game get a little more physical again, you wouldn't have this pent-up – it's basically pent-up aggression.
Right.
I can't do anything.
And by the end of the game, you're ready to just lash out.
Yeah, like let them hit each other, pull them aside, and be like, hey, that's your warning. You guys do this again, you're getting thrown. Now, in the NBA especially, the things
Yeah.
they're calling flagrant fouls are ridiculous.
They're not flagrant whatsoever.
No, let them play. You shouldn't stop the game for 10 minutes to figure it out.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Well, before we go to the next topic, MJ, I had to tell you this. So on Monday, the Red Wings were in town. And I decided, you know what? Hey, they're only in town once a year anymore. I'll go see it. I had to see for myself how bad this team was. MJ, our boys do not deserve to be playing in the National Hockey League.
Oh, God.
They were so horrible. They came out shooting well first. They went up 1-0 early, and then the floodgates opened. They lost 6-3.
I heard the Letterkenny Shamrocks could fill in if we need them to.
Dude, it was so bad. And also, Colorado Avalanche fans, do not forget, because we had that huge rivalry in the late 90s, early 2000s when we were still in the Western Conference. And Todd Bertuzzi, when he played for the Canucks and almost paralyzed Steve Moore of the Avalanche, Tyler Bertuzzi, his nephew, who plays for us, our only all-star this year, every time he touched the puck, boo, boo. Like, they're booing his nephew, who had nothing to do with the whole situation. It was a very interesting event to be at. But our boys, dude, this might be the worst Red Wings team in the history of that historic franchise.
Kev, I've learned to stop saying that about the teams I care about, because why?
They
end up going and seeing that we can do way worse than that. Like the Phillies. Every time I think it can't get any worse, it does.
It was something else. Antonio Brown, ladies and gentlemen.
God.
MJ said it last week. He said, hey, stay tuned for more Antonio Brown. Guys, I have breaking news that just happened. An arrest warrant has now been issued for Antonio Brown, who has locked himself into his house today after being charged with assault and battery against an underage person, I believe it was.
He hired the mover. That's what blows my mind. I thought it had something to do with like the girlfriend, and she like showed up to get stuff out. He hired the mover.
Yeah, I'm going to say this first. This is a really hard situation for me, especially as a Steelers fan who used to love this guy, loved what he did for the team, thought he was just a fun personality. And I think, I literally don't know, but I think when he got hit by Burfict and got laid out, there was some residual effect there, like CTE, major brain effect, because he has never been the same since. He used to be a diva. We all knew that, like any top wide receiver. But this guy turned into a legitimate psychopath who's now doing things that we saw with Aaron Hernandez, doing things that we saw with an O.J. Simpson, like not right in the head. A lot of things going wrong. And now an arrest warrant finally issued. This thing could be blowing up to proportions we didn't even dream about.
I just want the guy to get help. Like at this point, I don't even want to hear about it.
I want him to get help.
It's insane, man. It's like I mean, to switch topics here a little bit, but it's like Delonte West the other day.
Oh, that was horrible. Why are you filming him?
You don't, because people. I don't care. I don't care what you did. You get out and help someone that's getting their head stomped into the ground. Yeah. You don't just drive by and film. Like,
yeah,
you stop that. No, I hate seeing these athletes go down these, falling apart. I don't want to see it. You worked very hard to get to where you were.
Yeah.
And I mean, with both of them, man, Delonte West is positive, but Antonio Brown, I think it's mental illness. Like,
it has to
surrounded by people that are telling him the things he's doing are okay, which is mind blowing to me. Like,
yeah, when you have an entire support system that's literally supporting the crazy stuff that you're doing, like, that's not good at all. It's like your family's supposed to be your support system to help you, and now at this point they're like, no, yeah, you're in the right. They're just trying to keep you down, blah, blah, blah. Bring in, he's another black receiver that's being oppressed. Like, that's what they're running with, and that's not what's happening.
No, man. I think he'd get so much, like, admiration and appreciation if he admitted and went and got help.
Right.
Like, people would – like, because no one wants to hate him. Nobody does. Like,
but
if you watch
he's making it real easy.
Yeah, if you watch all the people that report on him, like people that have played with him, you'll always hear he was the hardest working person on the field, hands down. But
Ryan Clark even said it, and they had a terrible relationship.
So I already know I'm going to regret asking this, but Justin, what do you think?
You want to know what I really think?
No. I
think my audio for the first 35, 40 minutes
pretty bad.
It's going to be straight trash because
I
just realized I had my headphones in
and I'm like, I can't hear. I'm like, it feels like they're just coming out of my computer speakers. And I realized my mic wasn't plugged into the side of my computer this whole time. So I just been using my computer mic. You know how it goes.
No, dude, it honestly didn't sound too bad.
It did sound different.
Yeah, I figured.
But every time you talk, for some reason, it sounds different.
Like when you had the Barry White voice. Like
Wait,
the
does
first,
it really? Right now?
No.
But like the first podcast, you were totally Barry White.
Oh, I know, because of my stupid USB port. I literally, I needed to mark it because I was about to put it in the other one, and I'm like, I don't remember which one it is. They're just going to tell me if it's wrong.
You're like an old person with technology, dude.
Seriously, I'm the worst. But no, I feel so bad for this guy.
Yeah. It's
I think,
heartbreaking, really.
especially because of the time that we live in now. If he were to just go crazy like this in the 90s or the 80s or whatever, it would have been one thing. It would have been in newspapers a lot, and that's rough. But this guy
24/7 coverage.
He has a social media presence.
Yep.
It's 24/7 coverage. He's not going to get kicked off social media so he can see himself. He
literally, when he locked himself in the house, he tweeted out like something like, "Y'all can't get me," blah, blah, blah. Like, it's like, what is in his head?
Yeah, it's not again, like I said before, and I don't want to go like morbid or, worst case scenario,
right.
But it really truly does have a feeling of, I don't see how this ends without him being severely injured or dead.
Right.
Like,
or someone else close to him being severely injured or dead. That's why, dude, I watched some of that Aaron Hernandez documentary.
Well, I watched that whole thing. Ooh.
And, dude, let me tell you,
done, but
no, it wasn't that well done. There was a lot of stuff that they got
jumping
wrong.
a lot around.
But a lot of the stuff that they got right is real similar to what we're seeing with Antonio Brown. Like, there is a major issue going on in his brain that, like you said, Justin, he could bring a lot of harm to himself or other people. And, I mean, it's just – oh, my gosh. It's crazy to think that a few years ago I was at Heinz Field watching him do that amazing helmet catch, and now I'm reading reports of him getting an arrest warrant because he's gone crazy. Like, it's just insane how this
Can we happened. Real quick, you said you watched that? MJ, did you watch the Aaron Hernandez documentary?
Not yet. I've been –
Kevin,
I have a list too long of things I need to watch.
They made it too much about him possibly being gay.
Okay, on that,
yeah.
Did you get a weird vibe from gay high school quarterback and gay high school quarterback's dad? Like, maybe it was a bit rehearsed and maybe they were really loving the camera time?
Yes, absolutely. Dude, they didn't talk nearly as much about CTE that they did about him being gay.
No, and gay quarterback and gay quarterback's dad were very emotionless when it came to anything they were talking. They were very much like, everyone no one knew that he was gay and he was a gay man. And then the dad's like, and when in it, like, very rehearsed and there was no emotion in it. There was like, you could tell, or you couldn't tell whether or not they truly like.
My whole thing that bugs me about that is, who cares? Who cares?
Exactly.
Literally does not have any reason, I think, to do with him hanging himself at all.
No, I think that's kind of being used as like a possible reason when
he was so confused, and that's what happened. Dude, he had CTE badly.
Yeah,
badly.
Yeah, he killed like possibly 5 people.
Yeah. The double murder, and then the other, and like
he tried to kill that one guy. He tried to kill his friend.
The dude had a big mess in his life, and it wasn't because of that. Yeah, they really went overboard, I think, on that part.
Real quick, I just read more about the Antonio Brown arrest warrant. There is no bond placed on it.
Oh.
So he can't just, have a lawyer show up and represent him. He
pay it off. Yeah.
Well, that's probably a good thing when you have
that's a very good
bajillions of dollars.
Yeah, they have to do that.
I hope he still has bajillions of dollars.
That's true.
What did I just read? Also, Nolan just tweeted something.
Nolan Arenado?
Yep. There's been a lot of stuff going on that nobody knows about, and I was reacting to what was said and what was out of character for me because I'm very private with my life. The Rockies have been talking to my agent and me this offseason about a number of things that will remain between us. I will not speak on these anymore. I'm getting ready for the upcoming season. I'm working hard to get better for my teammates and fans.
Good for him. That's how you should
handle it. Taking the high road.
That's right. That's how you should handle it. But yeah, no,
And he's
honestly.
also getting $255 million.
I was gonna say they printed out a copy of the contract he signed last year, and they're like, just remember this number, and he's like,
just remember this
oh
260
my
here.
god.
Anyway,
Yeah,
sorry,
I
go ahead.
forgot.
But in all seriousness, we do hope the best for Antonio Brown in this whole situation, and any victim that was involved if he is in fact guilty of assault. So yeah, I just hope this ends in a better way than we think. But staying on football in a better way, the Super Bowl, gentlemen.
I'm so
the
excited.
Super Bowl is coming up, and it's a
Hey,
beautiful
Kevin,
one.
you can
It
eat
couldn't
that clock
happen
management crap from last week. Andy Reid didn't need it.
I know. So exactly. So you can't
can
defend
eat
him.
it.
You can't defend him. You can't defend that his clock management style. But no, absolutely. The Chiefs steamrolled the Titans. It was a wonderful game. Patrick Mahomes is just a wizard. That's the last time I ever bet against him.
He's getting like $250 million.
He's unbelievable. That run he had was absolute insanity. Broken play, ends up going 20 yards, spins out 3 guys, and then stretches over the chalk.
Looks like a little vintage Donovan McNabb action there.
Stop
Just
it.
saying.
No, it does not. No, it doesn't.
Donovan McNabb was once held onto the ball for 16 seconds.
Donovan McNabb also once vomited at the line of scrimmage.
Kevin, I don't think you've had the opportunity to vomit at the Super Bowl.
That happens. One time I vomited on a kid from Redland at a hockey game.
What?
That was because I stayed home sick from school, and then my mom was like, you can still go to your game, and I was a little queasy in the belly.
Well played, Terry.
Those Redland kids were big, and they hit me right in the stomach on the opening.
Did you get the native flu?
He blasted me in the stomach, and I was like, oh, well, this isn't going to be good. And I literally projectile vomited on his buddy, to which they were like, what?
Ew, and it went through like the grates of
Yeah,
the
it went through the grates of my
Oh,
helmet, it
dude.
went all over these dudes. And then I got back to the
That's
bench
gnarly.
and threw up again, and I was like, all right, I feel good.
All right, we are gonna power through this. First, I think the biggest thing that needs to be talked about the Super Bowl. The first time the Eagles went with Andy Reid, it was in Miami, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Yes.
no, Tampa.
Tampa. It was in
Florida.
Yeah.
It was in God's waiting room. Okay,
Yes.
but anywho, he gets to wear his Hawaiian shirt again during press week. How
He's
pumped
gonna
are
be
we all
nice and
about
warm.
that?
He's going to be wearing shorts, cankles out for days.
That womb broom is going to be on full flex.
Baby.
Yeah, no, so
I don't even care that the Chiefs made it. I'm just happy Andy Reid's there.
I was rooting.
here's the thing. This is not a surefire win for the Kansas City Chiefs.
No one said
I
that,
don't
Kev.
think.
We were talking.
I know. I'm just bringing that up. I don't think that
Oh,
this is going to be a steamroll game for them. I think they're coming up against the best defense in the NFL, and I think that it's going to be pretty difficult, especially with the fact that this defense can both neutralize Mahomes and the receivers at the same time. They have the talent that's able to do that. They have a good rushing front.
no, they can't.
They have
As long as they don't throw to Richard Sherman's side of the field since he can't follow the ball, they should be okay.
If they would, for the love of all things holy, if they would just throw to the other side of the field, or that Mosley guy, or whoever that, I forget who their guy that was originally starting and then got benched. Like, it's a weak side of the field. Just
Yeah.
throw to the other side. Sherman doesn't follow people.
It's going to come down to, for me, if Jimmy Garoppolo can be a Super Bowl winning quarterback.
Yeah.
Which
Can
is
he do
no.
enough?
Which is
Because
no.
he's been like Ryan Tannehill in the fact of he does enough to get his team to win. You got to do more than enough in the Super Bowl to get your team to win. And I think now, let me say this though, Raheem Mostert, holy cow, dude, that guy went off against Green Bay.
But I don't think that bothers the Chiefs at all. They just made Derrick Henry sit down.
Yeah,
And let's be honest, he had a great game, but Robert Mostert is not Derrick Henry.
well, he's not a power back, but he's an elusive back.
Yeah, but this all started this year. Like, everyone needs to calm down. He's
Yeah.
been on 7 teams?
Yeah, but I'm talking about
played
like
a
this
week.
year.
He played
How
a
he's
week.
doing this year.
Yeah, but
I think he's had a few good games, but also the way that they've ran their running backs, it became like evident they needed to use him because Tevin Coleman went down. I don't know if he'll be back for the Super Bowl or not. I don't know what his injury really
They
was.
said he's going to try to.
Holy crap, it looks like a broken arm. So I don't know what that's about. But I think this has to be best case scenario for how the Super Bowl could have been though. Like,
Yeah, it's a great match.
Titans.
Not for State Farm. State Farm.
Oh yeah,
but I mean, best offense versus the best defense.
And the thing is, the Niners' offense isn't terrible either. Too, so there's at least a chance for there to be a shootout here.
Their offense is as good as the Chiefs' defense. They're both. They're fine.
I'd say the Niners' offense is better.
Just a little better. Yeah.
Although I mean, they showed up the past couple weeks, so
yeah.
I mean, who knows? Although the past 6 quarters they showed up.
Yeah.
But no, I think again, like you said, it was the same issue I had with the Titans against the Chiefs. I thought, you're going to have to score with Patrick Mahomes.
And 6 throws is not going to do it.
Exactly. Just assume that they put up 35. So you have a number you got to reach, and it's going to be around 35 or 42.
Well, I was just looking that up. The where the hell did it go? Sorry. The Chiefs are opening up with a -1, and the over/under right now sits at 54.
Wow.
Hammer the over and -1.
Jeremy, I can't bet in this state, so if you could text me after this, that'd be great.
Hammer the over though. 54 is.
I got a few $100 burning a hole in my pocket, so let's do this.
I do think though that the Niners defense will be able to neutralize the Chiefs at least a bit. I mean, not completely, but they're not going to put up 50 points on them. They're gonna struggle slightly. They're gonna have a couple of drives that they struggle. It's going to be exactly what Kevin said. Can Jimmy Garoppolo be the thing that carries that team? Because it's not just going to be the run game.
Right. So let's get into it, boys. Let's give our picks for this year's Super Bowl. MJ, starting with you.
Chiefs. It's the Chiefs. I think Garoppolo finally gets exposed. I think Patrick Mahomes has a field day, as long as he doesn't throw to Sherman's side of the field. I think, and I honestly, man, I don't think it's going to be close.
I do, but I understand why you wouldn't think that. Justin, who you got?
I'm going to go
real quick, Justin. Real quick. And if it does become close, you're going to see the shining moment of Andy Reid's clock management burst through the wall.
He's going to call 3 timeouts in a row.
No, he's going to run it on 3rd down and then spike it on 4th.
Yeah, exactly. Like a true warrior. But I'm going Chiefs as well. I do think it's going to be close. I think Patrick Mahomes, while he has been, playing beyond his years kind of as a quarterback, I think that when the lights get that bright, there's some things that I think that he could have a couple of miscues there. And that Niners defensive front is no joke. Nick Bosa, that Armstead, they're a great defense. I'm going to go Chiefs. I think they'll be held is a weird word. They'll be held to 35. I think it'll be Chiefs 34, Niners 31.
Oh, wow.
Close.
I am going with Andy Reid and the Chiefs. I think Andy Reid gets his first Super Bowl victory. Yeah. I kind of hope that he does. I love the guy. He's a really great coach. I think, Justin, I'm right around with you. I think it's going to be 35 points for the Chiefs, but I think it's going to be about 27 for the Niners. I don't think it's that close, but I do think it's not. Well, yeah, I don't think it's crazy a crazy amount apart either. It's just so hard to bet against this Chiefs offense the way they're rolling. I think it's gonna be a great game. I'm really looking forward to it. There's no Patriots. There's no Rams. Falcons.
This is the first Super Bowl since 2000. Was it 12? I read that hasn't had a Manning or Brady in it, or something crazy like that.
They said, like the last however many it was, like Manning, Roethlisberger, Brady, like covered most all the Super Bowls.
If you look at the past 20 years, the only one that the only winner that wasn't them,
Flacco.
Was Flacco. Yeah,
the elite. Yeah. One of the best quarterbacks of all time.
Calm down.
Yeah.
Also, what was the other
Flacco.
thing I read? Oh, this is the first year in 7 years or 5 years that C.J. Anderson and somebody else aren't going to be in the Super Bowl. Because it was like Anderson was with Denver. Then
Oh,
he was
yeah.
with
yeah.
LA.
He's a
Angeles.
journeyman.
Yeah, they said it was that was a great one of those great tidbits.
That's almost like a what was it, Marion Hossa, who kept playing for all those teams that were getting to the Stanley Cup,
And losing.
and they would lose, and then he finally got to the Hawks, and they beat the Flyers. Justin, do you remember that? Do you remember that during senior week? Do you remember? Do you remember how upset you were? How sad you were? Do you remember those feelings? Let the hate come.
Vomiting under that couch and then saying that he didn't, and then we just smelled.
I arrived that day.
We smelled death for 3 days until we were like, "All right, something's going on."
What else did I?
Well, boys, let's get into our last things last year. So we've got our Super Bowl picks. Crazy that this is our last football pick for the year, until the XFL, of course.
Oh yeah.
But
no. We skipped over the biggest game of the year. Who you got in the Pro Bowl?
Oh God. I'll take the NFC because the AFC's been weirdly bad this year.
Justin?
I'm not.
I'm not.
I won't.
Remember, he
even-
said he gets like one game. He doesn't have to pick a year. He's using the chip now.
This
What do you
is
mean a year?
terrible.
He said one game a week when he didn't pick.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. I might not pick the Super Bowl. I hate NFL's
Oh,
Pro
it's the
Bowl
worst.
week. It
Can they
is
bring
terrible.
back the
Their
long
skills
distance
competition
throwing?
is
Well, you know what's
trash.
exciting this week? Friday, NHL skills competition.
Yes.
Cannot wait. That's going to be so much fun.
Skills that
Yes.
kills. All right.
So, last
Last
things
things
last,
last.
boys. MJ, go ahead. What do you got?
Well, since I was really skipped over, the AFC will win the Pro Bowl. I'm just going to say that now. Last things last. This is going to be a tough one for me, but I got to say it. I think, first off, the Pelicans should have benched Zion Williamson for the whole year. I don't think there's any
probably
need to
smart.
rush it. What is he, 19? Like
Save your investment.
Yeah, like they didn't need to rush. Also, God, this is painful. I don't think he has a Blake Griffin-esque career or less.
Wow. Wow.
Unless
That
I
is
think
a
I
said
hot
that.
take, though.
Unless he develops some sort of jump shot, which I think he could. But as of right now, what I'm watching with the rookie
Is Blake
class,
Griffin? Yeah.
he's Blake Griffin. I mean,
Yeah.
he's incredible
Good
bounce,
player.
incredibly strong. No, that's no knock to Blake Griffin, but
Yeah.
I don't think he's like this second coming like he's been put up to be.
Boy,
which he didn't ask for it, by the way. Other people were saying that.
We should bring Anthony on here because he thinks Zion is going to be better than Michael Jordan.
All right, I'm going to say this very respectfully. Or respectfully, sorry, not respectively.
Respectively.
You're a moron when it comes to almost 99% of sports.
Ooh,
99% of sports.
coming at him hot there.
Every time he has a take on anything, I sit back, usually in a bar stool, because that's where we're at, and I look at him like, do you?
I mean, the Oklahoma take this year was probably one of his all-time worst.
I was on Oklahoma, not for that game, but I was
No,
on.
he said they were winning the national title. Yeah. Anyway, Justin, what's your last things last?
My last things last, Kevin.
You don't know what it is.
He's stalling.
He's stalling again.
Do you ever prep for these?
Of course. Always. But my last things last was the UFC one. And you threw that in there without us having it on the itinerary. So what my last things last was going to be was Conor McGregor. And then it was going to be, who is he going to fight? Then we're going to talk about it. But we already did my last things last like 35 minutes ago. So
All right. Well, great.
that was middle things middle.
Mine is Towson quarterback Tom Flacco will be in the NFL.
Oh, my God.
He will make the NFL. And
MJ?
here's why. Okay.
Go ahead.
So Tom Flacco was named the MVP of one of the collegiate all-star games, the Tropical Bowl, where FBS and FCS talent that is looking to get drafted goes and plays. He had an incredible game, absolutely killed it. I don't know if he gets drafted in the late rounds. He absolutely could. He's got the numbers for it. But if he doesn't, I think he could be one of those undrafted quarterbacks that comes in and is able to get a backup role in the NFL and then hopefully eventually a starting role. I mean, we saw it with his brother, and we think most people that watch Tom play know he's more gifted and talented than his brother Joe.
Yeah,
and
does
Joe
he have
won a
the
Super
elite
Bowl.
gene?
I thought that was a family thing. If you're gonna say elite Joe Flacco, I mean,
Kevin,
it's gotta be a family thing.
He got the recessive.
This is a hot take. A last things last. Not dump water on top of the fire. Who
Hey,
cares?
MJ, no,
What do you
MJ,
mean, who cares?
talk to me right now. MJ, look at me.
Yes.
So here's the deal.
What do you mean,
Kevin,
who cares?
Every time in our group chat, I keep trying to tell him that FCS football means nothing. All
it
right?
means plenty.
It means nothing.
Oh,
at all.
This is coming from two guys whose starting quarterback is from the FCS.
Yes, because rarely does a gem
It's not
emerge
rare.
like a phoenix from the ashy FCS.
Walter Payton,
no,
dude.
Stop. Okay, you've named two.
Two, but generally, it means nothing.
Oh, it's not true at all. It's Division
Penn
One
State-
football. You're
Penn
so
State has-
disrespectful.
It's not Division One football.
It is Division One football.
It's Division
the
One,
subdivision.
but like
Right, it's the subdivision. Dude, no one. I'm not sitting here saying it's the
like the
same
below
talent level
basic of-
as FBS, but FCS is still Division One football. Players still get drafted out of those schools.
Yeah.
Players still have NFL careers out of those.
Kev, you know what my hope is?
So instead of
You know what my
treating
hope
it,
is?
well, shut up.
No.
Instead of
My hope
treating-
is that your former college disbands all their sports programs, so I never have to hear you talk about them again.
Hey,
I
and they,
hope they
and they
walk in and
lose
go, you know what?
$8,000 a year from it.
so much disrespect. This football program and other football programs in the FCS do send players to the NFL on a yearly basis. It's not like one player gets in every year. It's many players
That's
getting
because
into
practice
the NFL.
squads need filled up, Kevin.
It's not all practice squad
It's 'cause
talent
practice
either.
squads need filled up.
Oh my God.
Hey,
There are
Tom
players.
Flacco is no Carson.
There are
Wentz.
Super Bowl champions from Division II schools that have started in Super Bowls and won. You can't just
Yeah,
automatically.
and you know
assume
what,
if they're
Kevin?
not in the
No
ES,
one's made a
they're
hot
not a
take
good
about
football
them.
player.
No one's made a hot take about
It's not a hot take. Read his draft stock. Read what they're saying about him. You'll
They
see.
nailed some of those guys.
Read what
He's
you,
out there
read what you
throwing
about him.
600 yards a game against Sister Mary's School for the Blind, and we're over here like he's the next
Sister
coming of
Mary's?
Jesus.
Oh, sorry. Would you? Prefer
I didn't
another
say
name?
that. I said
Would
he
you
was
prefer
going
another
to
name?
be a player that absolutely could be in the NFL. He's
by the way,
got the kind
Kev,
of numbers.
This
that
is
can get him
one day. I hope we get to the point where we can pull clips from past shows and play them during the center because I have no idea how to do that. But I think now that
there. 'Cause I have all the videos.
the season, I have them too. But the season is over. Truly over at this point, and you owe someone an apology in the NFL.
Who?
He's your football coach.
I don't know him an apology. What do I owe him an apology for?
Michael James.
2 weeks ago, we just talked about how you were like, I overreact a little bit. He did a great job with what he was dealt with. When we were talking about Cowher getting in the Hall of
Last
Fame.
week. Yeah, we talked about last week.
And
Yeah,
Tomlin,
they
if
shouldn't
it's
have
based on
ever
those numbers, absolutely deserves to be in.
Absolutely.
There's video of you like this up on your mic going, fire him.
Yeah, I still think we should fire him.
Why?
I haven't changed my mind there.
Why?
I'm not. Look, we don't have enough time to get into this, but it's
No,
the
we
same
don't.
reasons that I've been saying. He had the talent to win Super Bowls. He couldn't do it. I don't care about his amazing regular season. I don't care that he's a future Hall of Famer. If it's not working, get a new coach in there. Bill Cowher, by the time he was done, we needed a new coach at that point. We absolutely needed to go to a different direction. Bill Cowher was a great coach, but Bill Cowher's last year or two there were not great. And it was time for us to make a change, and we did. We brought in Tomlin, won a Super Bowl. Things were great for a couple of years, and then we had an amazing roster that he could not win with. After that, I said, okay, now we need someone new. You know who I want to coach in Pittsburgh? Mike Vrabel. I want him to be back in Pittsburgh coaching that
He
football
will
team.
never. Why would he ever leave Tennessee?
Of course not. I know that, but I'm saying if I could pick any coach in the NFL that I want, it's Mike Vrabel because I'm
I'd
not
pick
getting Belichick.
Belichick.
I'm not getting Belichick, though. That's why I didn't say him. So, no, I don't owe him an apology. I already said he's a Hall of Famer, no doubt about it. He did well with what he could this year.
Steelers fans,
Nah,
when you
he's
see
gotta
Mr. Gangle show up at a game,
He's got to go.
please viciously
gotta
beat
go.
him.
He's got to go.
All right,
They
the thing is,
agree with me.
we're making a
They
bet
agree
right
with
now.
me.
What do you mean they? Who's they?
Read
I
Steeler
literally-
Nation blogs, man. Read them.
No.
A bunch of angry Pittsburgh people? That's
A bunch of angry
Yinzers.
Yinzers.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, I want to read a
Just
bunch
the word
of writing from
Yinz
people.
9,000 times. That should be great.
Yes, please.
It's
All I was
You're
saying
still
was
going on about this.
oh
all
my
I was
God.
saying. Just hear me out without being you know what's.
Why don't you say it?
The guy has done an absolute gem of a job with the team. He's put up great stats against good competition, including teams that are, like James Madison that was just in the national championship game. He's played really well. He deserves a shot, and I think he's made the most of this all-star game. He's going to make the most of other scouting events in the future. Whether he gets drafted or not, I have no idea. But this guy and other FCS players do deserve the same shot because they are top-tier talent in football. They're not FBS level, but they're top talent. That's it. So you can't be like crazy hating on the FCS. It's a legitimate subdivision of the Division I football.
Are you still talking?
Division I FCS football.
I love it. It's a lot of fun.
The baseball of college football.
See, I'm not making that comparison, but okay.
You guys are horrible people. Go Towson. Go Tigers. Towson Tigers. All right. And
Don't you?
No, I did it. That's right. I took the Coach-O to our Tigers. How about that?
By the way, I'm going to go completely off the rails again. LSU is going to be horrible next year.
They've got
everyone.
Oh,
I think the Water Boys switch schools.
Kevin.
Yeah.
Quickly though, I'm with you on Tomlin. As far as like, I don't think you should fire him I think you should fire him because, like, I feel like he's run his course. But at the same time, I feel like if the Steelers would fire Tomlin, their next hire would end up being like a Todd Bowles,
I do not know
or a
who we
Mike
would get right
Pettin,
now.
or something that would be like
We would never
rerun.
hire Mike Pettin.
I don't know. It would be like a rerun head coach, like a Pat Shermer. It would be something weird like.
Let's get 90-year-old Dick LeBeau in there.
Can we say
No,
that?
I don't want that. Trust me, I don't want that. I love Dick LeBeau, but I don't want that. All right, guys, that's the show. Thanks for listening. There'll be some nice edits here at the end. But yeah, thanks for listening. Enjoy we'll be back, I guess, again before the Super Bowl. Enjoy the Pro Bowl if you can even enjoy that.
No one's going to enjoy that.
And keep up to date. Go Towson Tigers. Have a good night.